The tactical group of Vuhledar of Ukraine reported the situation in the South Donetsk direction in the zone of its responsibility. It is noted that for the last week, 187 storming actions on the part of the enemy have been recorded. Subdivisions of the Vuhledar tactical group decently hold the defense, destroying the occupants' personnel and equipment. So, during March 18 to 24 of 2025, the damage inflicted on the enemy: 596 military personnel dead, wounded 645 military personnel, destroyed 16 units of tanks and PDMs, 122 units of vehicles, motorcycles and buggies were destroyed. 10 units of UAVs, 2 ammunition warehouses and 2 units of artillery installations destroyed. The work of the units of the Vuhledar tactical group on the destruction of the personnel and equipment of the enemy was shared. Recall, for months, Russia has been pushing to capture the remaining parts of Donetsk Oblast in eastern Ukraine, with a focus on Pokrovsk, Kharkiv, Chasiv Yar and other Ukrainian strongholds. Pokrovsk has been the focal point of Russia's ground assaults. Currently, the Russian incremental gains are mostly stalled or even reversed in the areas where the Ukrainian troops counterattack and reclaim their previously lost positions. In Ukraine's Donetsk Oblast, Russian forces made advances in multiple directions, according to ISW. Both Ukrainian and Russian forces made advances in the Pokrovsk direction. A Russian military blogger claimed that Ukrainian forces seized central Lysivka, southeast of Pokrovsk, and advanced to the outskirts of Dachinsk, south of Pokrovsk. Ukrainian troops have destroyed yet another North Korean M1978 Coxan self-propelled gun, SPG, in eastern Ukraine. In a post made on Telegram app on Tuesday, Ukrainian Unmanned Systems Force reported that soldiers from the 413th Raid Battalion detected and disabled the long-range SPG in eastern Donetsk region. The report also includes the video that shows the moment of the strike at Coxan. Due to a shortage of barrel artillery, Russia has increasingly relied on SPGs such as the Coxan, which were supplied by North Korea, the report says. Last week, the 14th Separate Regiment of Ukraine's Unmanned Systems Forces struck Korean Coxan with the use of HIMARS in Russia's Kursk region. Since the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, Ukraine has destroyed than 25,000 Russian artillery systems. Belarus authoritarian leader Alexander Lukashenko took office as president for the 7th term in an inauguration ceremony in the capital Minsk on Tuesday. According to Associated Press, members of the political opposition, many of whom are imprisoned or exiled abroad by Lukashenko's unrelenting crackdown on dissent and free speech, said the January election was a sham much like the last one in 2020 that triggered months of protests that were unprecedented in the history of the country of 9 million people. Since then, more than 65,000 people were arrested and 1,000s beaten, with the crackdown bringing condemnation and sanctions from the West. The European Union rejected the election outcome, calling it illegitimate and threatened new sanctions. In his inauguration speech, Lukashenko accused the opposition of working for Western funding and putting the country at risk by their masters for sanctions and bombs. Half the world dreams of our dictatorship, a dictatorship of real deeds and interests of our people. And everything is fine here with freedom of speech. We have more democracy than those who call themselves its standard, he said at the ceremony. Lukashenko has been in power since 1994 and has ruled the country with an iron fist. He has relied on subsidies and political support from Russian President Vladimir Putin, himself in office for a quarter century, a relationship that helped him survive the 2020 protests. Lukashenko allowed Moscow to use the country's territory to invade Ukraine in 2022 and later hosted some of Russia's tactical nuclear weapons. Leading opponents have fled abroad or were thrown in prison. Activists say the country holds nearly 1,300 political prisoners, including Nobel Peace Prize laureate Ales Bialiatski, founder of the Vyazna Human Rights Center. Since July, Lukashenko has pardoned more than 250 people. At the same time, authorities have sought to uproot dissent by arresting hundreds more in raids targeting relatives and friends of political prisoners.
Президент Республики Беларусь Александр Григорович Лукашенко.
Заступаючи на посаду президента Республіки Білорусь, урочисто клянуся вірно служити народу Республіки Білорусь, поважати, аховувати прави і свободи чоловіка і громадянина. Дорогие соотечественники, уважаемые гости, расследование новой администрации Трампа вскрыло вопиющие случаи финансирования USAID и NAID, госпереворотов и цветных революций по всему миру, в том числе в Беларуси в 2020 году. Помните этот мятеж? Благодаря вам, продавшим родину за эти гранты, а точнее вопреки, мы стали сильнее. Потому что бережем мир, который вы ставите под угрозу, обеспечиваем благополучие, которое вы ставите под удар, выпрашивая у своих хозяев санкции и бомбы. Государственная модель развития стала вызовом системы. У вас нет и не будет поддержки, у вас нет будущего. Вам и вашим кураторам нечего противопоставить нашему единству. Скажу больше. Полмира мечтает о нашей диктатуре, диктатуре реальных дел и интересов наших людей. И со свободой слова у нас все в порядке. Демократия у нас побольше, чем у тех, кто называет себя ее эталоном. Чтобы Беларусь шагнула вперед, в будущее. Крепкая. Каждый в Беларуси имеет конституционное право и возможность высказаться. Но не нужно призывать уничтожить все, что создано многими поколениями белорусов. Мы не позволим использовать свободу слова как дубину для разрушения собственной страны.
Итак, глава государства Алексей, президента Республики Беларусь. Мы также услышали с вами